The ground collapses below Hikaru's feet, creating a giant pitfall. Hikaru and the basilisk fall to the bottom of the pit. The enraged basilisk emerges from the debris and prepares to launch his deadly attack at him.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
On an ominous day, strange thunderstorm engulfed the world, and with its strange purple lightning strikes hitting various buildings, it transformed them into dungeons infested with dangerous monsters. The governments tried to use its military power to deal with these monsters, but the military couldn't even hold a candle against these monsters. But the hope came in the form of the Awakened. These Awakened were able to use the gate cards to summon mighty beings and energy to aid them. The gate cards were made in secret, harnessing the mysterious energy that engulfed the world, and helped in clearing the monster dungeons. Soon this heroism transformed into an elite profession, with private companies taking over this as business. Okita Hikaru lost his father to the monster attack, and since then he aimed to join this elite profession to take better care of his family. But unfortunately for him, his awakened power is trash and holds an F rank.
This nigga is trash!
His dream is pretty much done and dusted. But one day, he receives an acceptance letter from the best dungeon clearing company, Clearwater. Little did he knew, he would only get absolutely violated by the bitches of this corp. Next day, as Hikaru joins the company, he is deployed on a mission to clear a rank C dungeon. These two F rank guys are scouting ahead to detect monsters in the surrounding, but little did they knew they will get jumped by a goblin group. The goblins violate them like paper. Noguchi arrives in time and decimates the goblins. He mocks them for being a whining bitch. They collect the tiny mana stones dropped by the goblins, usually used for mana restoration and special weapons. They proceed ahead, leaving the injured F ranks behind to fend for themselves. Fucking psychos. Hikaru tries to reason with them, but Noguchi threatens him to stay silent like a bitch. It turns out that the A rank elites receive special weapons and damages-resistant armor, whereas the F ranks get literally nothing. An electric baton and that's it. As they march ahead, a group of goblins is again detected on the pad. The goblins charge at them. The A ranks quickly take position, and annihilates the goblins using their special guns. A goblin manages to slip past them and charges towards Hikaru. Hikaru attacks the goblins with his baton, but it does nothing to it, and the goblins just yeets him away. Fortunately for him, a brunette A rank saves him and again mocks him. As they move forward, they come across a Warelian, accompanied by its guard lions. Using his pad, Hikaru deduced that firearms are ineffective against it. Their team leader ordered the F ranks to form a shield to protect the A rank asses. The Warelian pack charges at them. The leader lures the beasts using the F ranks as baits. Using his A rank gate card, Noguchi summons Inferno Swordsman and attacks the guard lion. The brunette also summons the Blade of Tempest and attacks the other guard lion, wrapping up both of them for good. But this only enrages the Warelian, and he smashes through the shield formation, gravely injuring the F ranks. Seeing them on the ground, Hikaru steps forward to save them. Like, how the fuck are you going to save them? With that baton of yours? At least he got the balls, gotta give him that. Seeing this, Noguchi kicks away Hikaru for being cocky and punishes him for it. He again summons the Inferno Swordsman and attacks the Warelian with it. The leader orders Hikaru to heal the shield group so that he can again use them as baits. The beast stands up and decimates the formation once again. The teams gangs up on the Warelian and the leader summons his Aqua Spear and attacks the beast, finally putting him out once and for all. Witnessing Hikaru's display of his massive balls of bravery, the leader swaps an A-rank ranged attack card with Hikaru. He tells him that he must use it only when he orders him to do so. And our boy Hikaru is pumped to climb the ranks with this opportunity. As they reach the final boss floor, the dungeon boss appears right in front of them. Hikaru searches the database for information on this monster, but he can't find any of it. As the basilisk starts approaching them, the leader orders the shield group to form a defensive barrier, but as the basilisk charges towards them, they are proven to be utterly useless. Meanwhile, the A ranks activate their gate cards simultaneously and attack the basilisk with the hybrid attack. But it just tanks it, and comes out of the mist like a bitch boss. The team tries to attack it again, but the basilisk just whoops their asses and hands it to them. Seeing the ass whooping his team got, the leader orders Hikaru to deliver the final attack on the monster. And like a tail-wagging puppy, Hikaru accepts the order and makes a run towards the basilisk, while the team distracts the basilisk to make an opening for him. Dodging all the tickets to the Shadow Realm, Hikaru manages to get close to the basilisk and draws the card and activates it. But to his absolute shock, the ground collapses below Hikaru's feet, creating a giant pitfall. Hikaru and the basilisk fall to the bottom of the pit. As Hikaru stands up and gets a hold of himself, he expresses his confusion. But instead of answering, the group of A-rank bitches starts laughing maniacally. The leader explains that the card he handed to him was not an attack card but a trap card, which causes the ground below it to collapse and trap both the target and the user. He also reveals that he purposefully deleted the basilisk's data prior to the mission, so that they can use him as a bait for the basilisk, to reveal its vulnerable inner tissue, as the basilisk's outer skin is nearly impenetrable to any kind of attack and firearms. He was a fool to have fallen into this trap due to his naiveness.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Suddenly, the enraged basilisk emerges from the debris and attacks Hikaru. To aggravate the basilisk, Noguchi attacks the basilisk with his flame sword, heating up the entire surrounding.
I'm getting cooked.
Noguchi's plan proves to be successful. The basilisk charges up his poison breath to attack Hikaru. Hikaru embraces for the attack, but as if karma decided to hit back at these A-rank bitches, the poison attack rises up in the air, due to the rising hot air updraft. Utilizing the opportunity, Hikaru makes a run for his life towards a cave opening.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Hikaru reaches the dead end of the cave and finds a tiny crack in it. Upon his touch, the crack begins to shine, making him believe it's the way out. But to his shock, the basilisk bursts through the cave wall and
Surprise, motherfucker!
prepares to attack him. As a desperate measure, Hikaru screams at the crack in hopes of opening it. As the deadly attack was about to engulf Hikaru, the crack suddenly opens up, and Hikaru falls into a strange, seemingly infinite space. He is perplexed to witness such phenomenon. He spots an altar in the distance, and when he tries to touch it, the space fills up with voices in multiple languages. The voices ask him if he desires power. Recalling the betrayal from those bitches, he answers in affirmative, and expresses his desire to get back at these bitches and make them pay for the betrayal. Surprisingly, the altar begins to heal him and enhances his eyesight. The altar begins to upgrade his gate card, but he doesn't have any. The altar suddenly starts flickering with strange energy leaking through. The energy engulfs him and later settles down. To check if it worked, Hikaru draws out a card out of his card holder pouch. To his surprise, the card looks like a very powerful gate card. As Hikaru was bamboozled by all this, his card pouch starts overflowing with multiple gate cards. All the information about these gate cards starts flowing into his brain. He decides to test his new abilities and summons a mighty twin-headed dragon. The dragon proves to be very potent. Seeing this, he decides to test more of the gate cards and almost ends up destroying the entire room with these. But now he wants to go back. Remembering his words, he again screams, "Open up," and gets teleported back in the dungeon. He starts looking for the A-rank bitches and finds them arguing for who's gonna be the next bait. Noguchi grabs a F-ranker and throws him into the pit to use him as the bait. Fucking psychos. Seeing this, Hikaru intervenes and summons the twin-headed dragon and orders it to attack the basilisk. He orders the dragon to burn the basilisk with its fire breath, and the dragon is more than happy to burn this giant lizard ass into crisp. The basilisk also launches his poison breath to counter it, and a rapid button spamming ensues on both sides. The collision of both attacks cause the surrounding to crumble, and the A-rank bitches also fall into the pit due to it. As the battle dust settles, Hikaru expects another poison breath attack, but there is none. But to his surprise, the head of the basilisk is just gone. The fire breath literally vaporized the basilisk's head. It didn't even use its other head for it. This purple Ghidorah is damn OG. Hikaru collects the rare mana stone dropped by the basilisk, and thanks his Ghidorah for it. As he closes on the team, he witnesses the whole A-rank bitches dropped unconscious by the intense battle. As Hikaru approaches the leader, he slowly regains his consciousness. He is shocked to know that Hikaru defeated the basilisk.
Hello, motherfucker.
Hikaru questions him for his betrayal, but the leader again tries to fool him by calling it his strict treatment for Hikaru's development. But this time, Hikaru ain't buying shit. The leader is shit scared of his shenanigans leaking to the public, what he did to Hikaru, and all the F ranks he used as expendables. He ploys to kill Hikaru right here. He asks him to show his rare card. As Hikaru shows it to him, he throws it away out of Hikaru's hand, in hope of using his own card to kill Hikaru. But Hikaru saw through his ploy and summoned his purple Ghidorah. It tore the aqua spear into pieces. Hikaru threatens him, but declares that he have no interest in his pathetic existence anymore. He is nothing against him now. As Hikaru was leaving, the enraged leader grabs his gun and shoots at Hikaru, but the purple Ghidorah saves its master in time. It turns out that, all this time, Hikaru's eyesight upgrade showed him everything that the target was about to do immediately in the future. Hence, he was able to dodge and relay it to his purple Ghidorah through their psychic connection. Hikaru orders his monster to attack the leader and brutally bullies him. So much so, that this bitch leader literally pees himself. With that, he takes his leave. Next day, Hikaru announces his resignation from the company, declares to pursue his solo career, but his potential baby mamas are worried for losing him. Whereas the others are mocking him behind his back, calling him a F-rank loser with utopian dreams. But a few of his rank mates are genuinely worried about JIS resignation and try to stop him. But suddenly, Hikaru feels an intense, intimidating presence. It's the company director Serizawa. Unlike others, he is unable to see his rank and other metadata. He concludes that Serizawa is probably a high-rank Hog Awakener, maybe even stronger than him too. He asks Hikaru for the reason of his resignation. Hikaru reveals it to be the overpopulation of bitches in the company. Serizawa leaves him with a stern warning to non-interfere in his business. Hikaru concludes that, to deal with this threat in future, he must get better at using abilities, and it can be done only through practicing. As Hikaru leaves the building, an old man grabs him and asks for his help in clearing his dungeon. Matsuda reveals that he can't afford large core to clear his dungeon, and the free government awakeners are not capable of clearing the dungeon, while the freelance awakeners have fraud and ripped a lot of money from him as retainer fees. Hearing all this, Hikaru decides to help the old man Matsuda without any retainer fees, as it will also help him practice too. Matsuda takes him to his building, where he meets Saki, Matsuda's granddaughter, who chases away fraudulent awakeners. Matsuda shares details of his deal with Hikaru, but upon knowing about Hikaru's F rank, they both become skeptic of his claims.
This nigga is trash.
But regardless, they allow him to proceed. Inside, he encounters a horde of goblins, but he swiftly burns all their asses into crisp with his big-ass fire skeleton. But it turns to be a big mistake, as the fire uses up all the oxygen in the dungeon. The curtains of life were about to close in on him forever, but luckily he manages to activate another card and restores the oxygen in the cave. As he moves forward, he encounters even more goblins and uses another powerful card to bomb their asses, but he quickly realizes he's depleting mana. These powerful cards ain't cheap, buddy. To solve this problem, he brings out a new card, Cerulean Swordsman, a more efficient way to shred these monsters. With his new ability, he speed runs, or should I say speed cuts through the dungeon and reaches the boss, the King Goblin, who quickly gets turned into a giant headless turkey. Hikaru upgrades his new card while replenishing his mana and leaves the dungeon. Outside, Matsuda and Saki are shocked by his swift dungeon clearing. Matsuda asks for Hikaru's help with buildings too, and Hikaru promptly agrees to it, but turns out that all this clearing work made him hungry as fuck. Seeing this, Saki turns into Baby Mama 1 and grabs Hikaru, inviting him for dinner. At dinner, Hikaru compliments the shorty for the delicious dinner he is having. It is revealed that Shorty's parents weren't able to return to Japan, due to the dungeonization of the airports, and have been living with her grandpa ever since. Next day, Hikaru meets the duo for the next dungeon clearing. But he's surprised by Shorty when she hands him her special-made bento dish, completing her transformation into a certified baby mama. Looks like our boy didn't unlock just the gate cards, but also some other kind of gates too. Hikaru enters the dungeon and cuts through all the monsters like butter. As he reaches the final dungeon boss, he utilizes his observation of the A ranks and develops his own new attack. Using his ingenuity, he finally slays the King Goblin. As he leaves the dungeon, the building turns back into its normal appearance. Matsuda thanks him for his excellence and grabs him to take him to the next dungeon. Meanwhile, the shorty is busy thinking about our boy Hikaru.